Welcome back to the Live Out Loud Show. I'm your host, Brooke Thomas. And guess what? I'm really glad you're here. You know why? Because I want to talk to you about something I've seen over and over and over again in women who step boldly into their calling. And it might be happening in your life right now. And I'm here to help you, girl. So, have you ever sensed a calling on your life and immediately felt something push back against it? You know what I mean? When you're like so excited about something and then immediately you're like, no, but I can't. Or you feel like this resistance. Have you ever been labeled in a way that made you second guess who you really are? You know what I mean? Where you like actually know who you are, but then you get a label that tells you who you're not. Have you noticed challenges popping up the moment that you decided to take a bold step? If any of that resonates, lean in because there's a pattern here. I'm excited about this episode because this is something that I've personally walked through. I've helped so many women walk through. And once you get clarity around what we're going to talk about, it's like game on, okay? Because one of the boldest things I say and something that I've lived firsthand is this: you will be attacked at your highest calling. You will. And if you're being attacked right now, if you're being challenged, if you have resistance, if you just feel around a place that you're headed or something that you were excited about, that's your highest calling. That's typically where you're going to make the biggest impact. And the places where you've been hit the hardest often point directly to the assignment God placed on your life. So let me show you what I mean, okay? Growing up, I loved to talk. Is that a shocker to you? Are you shocked? I loved to talk, okay? I was like little girl, full of energy, joy, passion. I always had something to say. But one day, somebody called me Babbling Brooke. And then it stuck like adults and then kids. And then it was like, shh, settle down, Babbling Brooke. She just loves to babble. And what felt like a joke became a label that actually stuck. And it wasn't fun. Even a little girl should never be called a name that might cause her to settle down, shut down, quiet down. And I don't blame any adult or any person. Sometimes we, attach ourselves to something that's happening and we're all laughing. But a lot of times the other person might be like literally crying inside or feeling demeaned, diminished, and all the things. And so that's why I always say, like, what comes out of our mouth is so important. And that joke, what felt like a joke and what felt like a fun label to other people, Babbling Brooke, it stuck. And I started shrinking back. I questioned my energy as a little girl. I questioned my voice. I wondered if I was just too much. I became so insecure. And what I didn't understand at the time that I know now, and this is why I do what I do, is that your voice will often be attacked when your voice is part of your calling. So I just want you to think about this. If I'm talking to anybody right now, that your voice is your calling, which, listen, I'm just going to say every single person under the sound of my voice should use your voice. Your voice matters. Your words matter. You matter. And your voice is part of your calling. And if you feel that way, or if you start to partner with that, watch what happens in your life. Don't pay attention to the people that are trying to shut down your voice. Pay attention to God's voice in your life and what God says about you. And I want to tell you how this story kind of got a lot better, okay? Years later, while I was actually preparing for a Live Out Loud event, God brought me clarity that completely reframed that old label. So today I want you to think about a label on you, something that has been spoken over you that doesn't feel good. And I want to help you reframe that old label because it's going to be old after right now. And I want you to know that you can reframe anything that's been spoken over you, anything that you feel that is stopping you. So what was happening is, okay, so I was about to go into this event and it was right after 2020. We were at the Ritz, and then we came back and we were the very first event back in 2021. They only allowed us to have 50 people. And I just felt so heavy, like in my heart for so many people and so many women that had felt so discouraged, shut down, not worthy, just all the things that had happened over the last year, with what happened in 2020. And I remember feeling like, okay, God, what do I need to do to help these women feel worthy and, feel good? Because I know everyone's coming off of just such a hard year, and women that have lost their businesses, their homes, their relationships, and just their trust in society at that point. Like, I'm like, I gotta do something. I gotta dig up something good. And I went and I was reading and studying in the book of Philippians, because the book of Philippians is always a great book when you need some joy. And, in that book, I love to read the Joyce Meyer's Everyday Life Bible. And in that book, in the book of Philippians, it was talking about joy. And it said, joy is like extreme hilarity or calm delight. Okay, just hang with me. This is going to mean something. I saw myself in both. And I was like, okay, Lord, I know that I have extreme hilarity. To me, that was like very outgoing. Like, I love to laugh. I love to be funny. It's probably extreme. And I saw myself as both, because I also want to be calm delight. There's moments in my life where I felt calm delight. But when I read the description of what calm delight meant, I knew God was speaking to me, because I actually said a prayer in my heart, and I was like, Lord, show me that I can have more calm delight. Show me that, I can actually walk in calm delight. It was just something personal. I'm giving you an example of what can happen with you and the Holy Spirit, with you and the Lord when you crave something. I'm like, Lord, show me this part of me. And do you know that you could literally Google it right now. It would probably still pop up. I Googled calm delight defined, like define calm delight for me. And you know what popped up? It said that calm delight is like a bubbling brook that actually brings refreshment everywhere it flows. Like a bubbling brook that brings refreshment to everywhere it flows. In that moment, I felt like God showed me so much. And here's what it was. It took me back to that moment of like my label of babbling brook was reformed in one moment, because God reminded me, when you're actually using your voice for good and you actually want to make an impact, if you're vulnerable enough to bring up things about yourself that have caused you to feel, insecure, unworthy, which for me, it was that label. In one moment, God was like, girl, not only are you extreme hilarity, but you're calm delight. And I'm going to explain why. You're a bubbling brook that actually brings refreshment everywhere it flows. And immediately I was like, this is my content for the retreat. Every woman's going to walk in with a label, and you are listening right now. You might have a label on you. You might have had somebody tell you something. And this is your moment right now to be like, God, how can you replace it? How can you actually replace that label that has stopped me to something that's good? Do you know that in a moment, I changed babbling brook to bubbling brook, and I was like, yes, that's who I'm created to be. And you know what? Anybody can call me babbling brook right now, and I will accept it. It doesn't even bother me anymore. I'm babbling, I'm bubbling, I'm all the things, because that's how God created me. But I needed a moment for God to reveal something to me that I could pour out to other people. And this became like a whole year-long training, really, and content that changed the course of so many women's lives. And I just feel like I need to bring this back out, because listen, in that moment, everything shifted for me. I was not babbling brook, I was bubbling. But again, I will do babbling all day long, because I know that I was created to refresh, to uplift, to bring life wherever I go. And the very thing that was attacked early in my life was the very thing that God designed to use. And that's for you too. So think about it. Whatever it is that you feel attacked in right now, where you feel challenged, I want you to think about maybe that was the very thing that God designed you to use to impact other people. So where have you been holding back your voice because of something or someone said something to you, something or someone said something to you that caused you to actually believe it and actually walk in it? Because I want to tell you something. The enemy cannot silence your voice. The enemy will try to shake your assignment and try to shut your voice down. And there's so many other stories I could get into. We don't have time for that today. I'll do a whole nother podcast on all the ways the enemy has tried to shut my voice down. There's so many I can't even keep track of. But when I tell you, I know that that is my list of okay, God, game on, you and me, Lord. I know that this is my assignment and I'm not going to allow the enemy to take me down. So what is it for you? Because another area that I was attacked in, where my life was very much changed and it was very intense, was when I was 26 years old. I was newly married and pregnant. I walked into what I thought was a routine doctor's appointment, and I walked out with a stage 3 diagnosis of melanoma. They told me I needed to have immediate chemotherapy and an abortion to end that baby's life. And I was told to terminate the pregnancy. I was told that if I didn't, I would not live past 40. And in that moment, I had to make a decision. I had to choose not to terminate the pregnancy. Now, let me tell you, I'm 48 years old, never been healthier. My daughter's 22. Or I'm sorry, she just turned 21. So that was 22 years ago. And I chose life. I chose faith, even though I was spoken death over. John 10:10. The enemy comes to kill, steal, destroy. Sometimes that is kill your dreams, destroy your confidence, steal your future. And I had to choose to trust that God's plan for me was bigger than any diagnosis. And I know if you're listening right now, maybe you need to hear this or somebody else that you love, that God's plan is bigger than that diagnosis. God's plan is bigger than that death sentence over your life, your finances, your relationships, whatever it is. So looking back now, I can see it so clearly. The resistance, it wasn't just about my health. It was about my motherhood. Because today I'm a mom to 2 incredible daughters, and I cannot imagine my life without the girls that I have that are so kind and strong and brilliant and full of purpose. And motherhood has been one of the greatest assignments of my life. And it was confronted before I even had the words to name it. That's what I understand now. Whatever carries generational impact will face generational resistance. My life, my motherhood, my future, my assignment, all of it came under pressure before I even knew what God was preparing me for. And today, I sit here, stand here, live here at 48 years old. I am cancer-free. I've been cancer-free for over 10 years. I'm standing in awe. Every day I wake up with thankfulness and gratitude, even when I don't feel like it. But it's because of God's faithfulness and walking out the very impact that was threatened early in my story. That's why I feel so strong about activating your impact. That's why I won't back down. That's why I won't allow my emotions to run my day. I just want to pause for a moment and say this. One of my favorite parts of what I do is reading the messages that come in from our Live Out Loud network. I read the DMs, I read the texts. Yes, I actually read all of it. And it's honestly one of the greatest privileges of my life. I received this message the other day from one of our Live Out Loud network members, and I wanted to share part of it with you. She said, "This year stretched me more than any other, personally, financially, and spiritually. But my biggest breakthrough was that I did not quit. God refined me, rebuilt me, and gave me a deeper identity, confidence, and purpose than I've ever had. I launched my nonprofit. I served over 100 people. I rebuilt my business after hardship, and I stepped into rooms I used to only pray about. I'm ending this year with more faith, more clarity, and more purpose than I started with. And I'm grateful for this network because it helped save my life in every way." Wow. When I read that, I thought, this is why I do what I do. This is why I wrote my book, Activate Your Impact. And this is why I created a membership called Activate. Activate is not about doing more. It's about becoming more rooted. It's a place for women who want to grow their impact without losing their faith, their peace, or their joy. A place where vision is protected, faith is strengthened, and community truly matters. If this message resonated with you, don't wait. Go to brookthomas.com /join activate to join Activate today. I hope to see you on the inside. So let me ask you, what's the moment for you? What's the moment in your life that tried to shut you down before you even began? It's really good to ponder and think back on these things and to realize who the real enemy is and what you're really capable of and how God really created you. And there was just another kind of attack, not on my voice, not on my health, but on who I believed I was allowed to be. You know, a mentor once told me, you can't be a mom and a successful business owner. You need to choose. I remember this so clearly, like 20 years ago, where a mom, and then I hate to say this, but several women told me when my girls were probably 1 to 10, that I should just give up this whole business thing, not try to be independent, not try to do anything else, but be a mom, because you can't be a good mom and a businesswoman. You need to choose. And you know what? For a moment, I believed that. I cared about what people thought. I thought, well, what if that is true? I didn't know the outcome. I didn't know if it was really true or not, but I knew that God was calling me to do more. And I knew that I loved my daughters. I knew I could be a good mom and still create and build. We are meant to create and build in this life, whatever that means for you. We are, made in the image of God. He's the God of the universe. He created the universe. We are creative beings. We are meant to create and build in this life. And you can also be a mom and create and build in this life. And whatever that means for you, you should do it. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do and who you should and shouldn't be and who you could and couldn't be. Because now I stand before you and I'm just sitting here right now, just thinking about how, wow, if I would have listened to that. My daughters are now 18 and 21. So now I am on the other side. I didn't know when they were 1 and 5 and 10. I didn't know. I was still questioning. I was like, what if I mess them up? Listen, we all are going to mess up our kids at some point. In some capacity. It just gets better every decade or every generation gets just a little bit better. But the way you won't mess them up is going after your dreams, activating your impact, doing what God's calling you to do. And my girls are 18 and 21. I am so grateful that I didn't listen to other women and other moms that were telling me who I wasn't or who I shouldn't be. I'm glad that I listened to the Lord and listened to what I thought I should do, because my girls have more respect for me now than they ever have. And I have a great relationship with them. You don't have to choose. I believed that for a moment, and then I got past it because I'm like, if I'm good with God, I'm good with my husband, and I feel good with my girls, I'm doing this. And sometimes you're a better mom when you choose to do, the thing that God's called you to do, and then be with your kids too. Be a great mom and be a great businesswoman, whatever that means for you. That could maybe mean you being at home, creating something with your hands, or, you might be crafty. I don't know what it means for you. You have to decide what it means for you. But I do believe that we can all be moms and whatever God's calling you to be, whatever that looks like for you. And different seasons call for different things. Different seasons call for different things. I can do things much differently now, having 18 and 21-year-olds, than I did when they were like 5 and 3, But here's what I've learned the most. God does not ask you to choose between the parts of your purpose. You are allowed to be powerful. You are allowed to be purposeful. You are allowed to be present. You are allowed to be all of who God created you to be. The pressure I felt around my identity revealed the message I now carry with deep conviction. You do not have to choose. And I know you're listening to this because you either need to hear this or somebody that you need to pass this on to. You get to show up fully you. You get to decide. So let me ask you, has anyone ever told you that you could not be fully who God created you to be? And finally, there was community. Some of the hardest moments in my journey came through relationships, betrayal, misunderstanding, deep disappointment, the kind that makes isolation feel safer. But here's what I didn't see at first. Community is one of my greatest callings. God asked me to build spaces where women feel safe, supported, strengthened, and aligned. I was trying to look for it and I couldn't find it. So he's like, go build it. And I was like, really, me? because those were the very places he was shaping and strengthening inside of me. And once again, the pattern was clear. The area that I felt the most attacked often holds the assignment. So let me ask you again, another question. Have relationships ever made you want to isolate? Of course, right? I already know that answer. Even though you know you were designed for connection. They call me the super connector because I love connecting people with people, because it does matter who you hang out with. It does matter who you surround yourself with. It does matter who you're connected to. It does. And here's what I want you to walk away with today. The areas where you've been hit the hardest, they often reveal where you're called to lead the most. They're not to discourage you. They're not to disqualify you, but to prepare you. Your calling is not fragile. Your purpose is not accidental. Your identity is not up for negotiation. There is something that God placed inside of you that is meant to come out in this season. And sometimes the pressure that you feel is simply pointing you towards the thing. Okay? So if this episode resonated with you, I know I shared a lot of things, but I want you to think about you. Especially if this episode recognized how your voice, labels, or resistance have tried to shape your story, I want to invite you to go a little deeper with me. I'm sharing a replay from one of my masterclasses where I helped hundreds of women break free from negative voices, false titles, and internal narratives so they could step confidently in who God created them to be. So if you're ready for breakthrough, head to the show notes and click on the breakthrough call. The replay link is there. And I really love the fact that I can share another way that you can even go deeper. Let's get that breakthrough for you or somebody that you love. It's the next step and a way for us to just stay connected on a deeper level and beyond this episode today. So I'm standing with you. I believe in you. And I'll see you on the next time, or you'll listen to me on the Live Out Loud show. Thank you so much.